And our next story is about Netflix. Some of you have an account on the streaming site. The rest of you have the password of someone who has an account. Over the last few years, Netflix has become synonymous to leisure. Now, what if I told you that people are leaving Netflix and this is happening for the first time in a decade? Why? We will find out in just a bit. Let's start with some numbers for now. At least 200,000 people left Netflix between January and March this year. Another 200,000 users will log out in the next 3 months, that is by July 2022. Back to the big question, why are these people leaving Netflix? The OTT platform has two explanations. One is price rise. In January this year, remember, Netflix raised the subscription rates in the US, the UK and Canada. By how much? Up to $2. It was the first price hike in 2 years, and the timing could not have been worse. Not too long after January, Russia invaded Ukraine. The price of Brent crude shot up, and soon everything else started getting expensive. So people started cutting down on luxuries to cope with the increased cost of living. In the UK alone, 1.51 million subscriptions were cancelled between January and March. Netflix also felt the pinch. The reason number two, it says, is Russia. Netflix is one of the companies that recently exited Russia. That one move cost the platform some 700,000 subscribers, or so it says. Adding, had it not exited, Netflix would have added another 500,000 subscribers, meaning its net subscribers would have still been in green. Now, these are explanations that are coming from Netflix. The war, the inflation, things that are very interestingly beyond the OTT platform's control. But is Netflix really a victim of the circumstances? Not really. There is more to this story than that. You see, Netflix had a great pandemic. People were locked up in their homes. They had nowhere to go, so everyone flocked to Netflix. In the very first month of the lockdown, Netflix added some 16 million subscribers. By the end of 2020, the number was 36 million. Did Netflix disappoint these users? A recent original surely did. I'm talking about Bridgerton. Netflix was riding big on this show. The first season had broken all charts. Fans could not wait for the sequel. It turned out to be a damn squib, or so the fans say. And this was not the first time that Netflix was letting down its users. You know, this OTT platform sold itself as the antithesis to cable television, as a platform for good content, as a platform for new content, until it became a platform that was churning out content very similar to 90s cable TV. How many of you have watched Is It Cake? It's a game show, one where contestants are expected to tell whether objects in front of them are real or cakes in disguise. Now, who would want to spend 649 rupees a month for that? Reports say that last year, Netflix spent around $13 billion on original content. Clearly, it failed to impress. While Netflix's quality of content takes a nosedive, other players in the market have started making a mark. Many are offering similar choice of movies, shows and documentaries at a cheaper rate. Last year, streaming platforms spent up to $50 billion on content. Netflix users could still justify paying more because they could share their passwords and the bill. In other words, a 649 rupees plan in India or a $20 plan in the United States could be split between a group of friends. This was until Netflix started asking users to pay extra for sharing passwords. The OTT platform is currently testing this new feature. Why? Netflix says 100 million people are watching its videos through shared passwords, and it wants to monetize this viewership. Users are not happy. Many are evidently leaving. They are either moving to different platforms or moving out. Look around you. Our world is finally opening up. People no longer need to be glued to the television sets. There are other places of entertainment, other sources of leisure. Gyms have reopened, theaters have reopened, clubs are now welcoming members all over again. People can now afford to log out and step out, which is good for us but bad for Netflix. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.